Hey guys, Germain Lussier of Slashfilm.com. I'm here with...
Ben Pearson from firstshowing.net.
And we're on the Paramount lot, obviously, here in Hollywood. And we just saw 20 minutes of World War Z, directed by Marc Forster, starring Brad Pitt, and based on the books by Max L. Brooks. And it was basically like 20 minutes sort of highlight reel together from the very beginning of the movie, a little bit of Act 2, and I guess a very, very tiny bit of Act 3. Mm-hmm. And... it was a lot of stuff you've seen in the trailer, but definitely some new stuff, and stuff you've seen in the new trailer, which is out already. It just came out this week. Ben, what'd you think of the 20s?
This movie has obviously had some really well-documented behind-the-scenes problems, but I think looking at just the footage that we saw, you don't really see any signs of that, which I found encouraging. For people like us who... write about film all the time, and people like our viewers and readers who read about it and kind of consume this stuff, that might be the more important story right now until the movie comes out, is like all this behind the scenes stuff. But when all is said and done, nobody's really going to remember that. It's just the film is going to stand on its own, and I think the stuff that we saw looked pretty good for a PG-13 big budget action movie. The zombies looked interesting. It's kind of more in the Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead, fast zombie
even
kind of
more
camp.
Yeah, I thought the zombies, my thoughts in a second, but like the zombies reminded me of like NFL linebackers.
Yeah,
where they're just running and jumping and stuff, and that's something you really haven't seen in a zombie movie. And Forster did an interview, which we'll talk about, you will read about separately, it's just to talk about the footage here. But he talked about he really wanted to do zombie stuff that you haven't seen before, which is incredibly hard with, with zombies being so popular on The Walking Dead, and like just, 40, 50 years of zombie history.
Yeah, but these guys were like spearing people left and right.
Yeah, it was like Goldberg in the WWF, old school. Like, it was crazy like that. And that stuff looked good, and they're definitely CG zombies most of the time. But you have to when you have like 400 or 500 zombies just running down the streets and going up these walls and stuff. And I liked a lot of the sort of beautiful big money shots that we saw here. I'm not quite sure about the character stuff yet. Again, that'll be better when it's all strung together.
Right. And we saw a lot of the stuff out of context, so it's like, we're not really able to judge too much based on just 20 minutes of kind of money shot footage. But
I was a little on the fence about it. It wasn't as exciting as I had hoped. Again, it's hard to judge because there's no score there yet, really. There's a little bit, there probably was score, but I don't even remember it, so what does that say about it? And Pitt seems like, he's really, he's in his element here. He's definitely commanding the role, but I don't know. I mean, I was a big fan of the book, and they definitely changed it. They definitely put some homages in it. There's even a line of dialogue in here that's like straight from the book, I was told, and I vaguely remember that. But yeah, it really is taking zombie stuff and putting a different spin on it, but I don't know, we're going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think I was a little bit more impressed with it than you were, it sounds like, but that's because maybe I didn't read the book, and because I was kind of expecting a disaster based on all these behind-the-scenes stories and stuff that have been coming out about the movie. But I think there's a lot of potential there. We'll see how it actually turns out, but I think... they're looking to make it more than just a typical zombie movie. It's more of this really global story, and the scope looks really big.
The scope is really big in it. Yeah, like you can tell, like a lot of the stuff. Sorry about these people back here. We've heard so much about how much the budget is and all these reshoots stuff, and it's there. I mean, the money is on the screen, as we tend to say. It's incredibly big. Like we've never seen a zombie movie this big.
Yeah.
Literally, like globe trotting.
And like you mentioned, those money shots, especially the ones that you see in the trailer of the zombies running up the walls and stuff. Like Forster talked a little bit about trying to get them to do things that we haven't seen, and I think the way that stuff comes off, it looks pretty cool.
I mean, that's really, I think, what the movie is going to hinge on for me. I mean, I don't really need in a zombie movie, you don't need incredible characters, or you need something to latch onto. But if these zombies can really, really impress me and really scare me and really thrill me, you've got a good shot at impressing me. And I think that's there. There's definitely there. He definitely held some stuff back. In the new trailer, you saw stuff with like this plane that looks really exciting. You've never seen a plane zombie outbreak before, like a Lost meets Walking Dead type thing.
Right, and the zombies move more, are portrayed, at least in the footage that we saw, as more of like a horde, kind of a force of nature instead of like individualized, which makes it scarier, I think, and that's kind of the vibe that they're going, that, this big global pandemic and stuff, like what would happen, there's a little bit of, as much as it is a zombie movie, he's talking about like basing it in some form of realism. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's like Contagion in that way, I guess, kind of like Contagion taken to a more ridiculous extreme.
Yeah,
But-
horror level, PG-13 level, by the way, too.
Yeah,
which,
and
there's
that-
not a lot of violence. There's violence, but not blood, and there's not,
Right.
you know.
Not a lot of gore, not a lot of, you know, intestines or guts, or kind of the things that you would normally expect to see in a zombie movie. And Brad Pitt introduced the footage to us and said that he wanted to make a movie that his kids could see. And this kind of seems like, you know, something that if I was 15 years old, I would be like, oh man, this movie looks
Right,
amazing.
I mean, there you go. I think that's a good note to sort of wrap up on. Is that
Yeah.
it looks like a movie that a 15-year-old, which you might be 15, and I'm not. I used to be 15 too.
Right,
Not to be
no.
offensive. It looks like a really, really, you know, adrenaline-fueled zombie movie.
Yeah, a
whether
huge,
it works
expensive studio,
Yeah.
you know, zombie movie.
Yeah, whether
so-
it works on every level, we'll have to wait until June to find out.
Yep.
Potential is definitely there, and that's really what you're hoping for at this point.
Yep.
But you know, remain skeptical. Read more on our sites. Where are we going to read more, Lee?
Ben Pearson from firstshowing.net.
And Germain Lussier from Slashfilm. Talk to you guys soon.
Thanks.